Good morning and happy Monday, you guys.
Welcome to Espresso with Erin and
Sarit
and Boogie.
So, you guys, before we started today's episode, Boogie was having a conversation with us.
We were having a debate.
As you guys know, Boogie knows how to talk, and we know how to talk to him. So we speak to one another all the time. By the way, please drop a comment and say me too if you speak to your dog all the time.
You're a crazy dog mom if you have one.
Yeah. So, Boogie was asking Mama E a question. Mm-hmm. And he was asking her if by any chance she would be willing to be in her Nike suit all day today. Please define Nike suit.
Nike suit is without clothes.
Without clothes.
Without clothes.
Without clothes.
But you're not in your Nike suit though. Fin have crown.
Pun Nike suit. So, Boogie asks Mama E about Nike suit. See how serious he is?
I said perhaps not because other people, I said, would you like other people to see me pawn me Nike suit? And he said, say it how you said it.
What?
Say your response.
Seeing you in your Nike suit is my favorite.
No, he said, why you show me in my Nike suit?
Yeah, so Mama E said no, and then he asks why he has to be in him Nike suit all the time.
Why do we let other people see him and he's getting embarrassed?
But you don't be embarrassed, it's okay.
He's getting embarrassed.
So then he said that he wants to come poncho today to know your opinion if Erin should be in her Nike suit all day today.
Oh my gosh.
What has this turned into?
Happy Monday. I hope you guys had a beautiful weekend. It was Easter weekend. And we are back.
Him just burped.
We are back. And today's
Monday. So we're going to be talking about all of the weight loss mindset related things. So today's also the day after Easter, and I bet that some of you guys are feeling super accomplished because you had an intentional weekend going into Easter, and maybe some of you, let's be real, are probably feeling a little bit anxious or guilty with regards to what you did this weekend. Now, regardless of what group you're in, know that our intention for today's episode is to add value to you so that you can create the momentum that you need starting right now in order to continue the momentum going into the week. What is in the past is behind you, so all you gotta do is let it go rather than dwell on it. And what you need to do is focus on what do I need to do right now in order to make the rest of my week successful. Now, when we were planning this episode, we were completely unaware that it lands right after Easter. But the fact that Easter just passed,
it's perfect timing.
It is great timing because it's very relatable. And today we're talking about the concept of being intentional and how does that affect the quality of your results. So now, here's the thing that we all have to accept and act based on that is that without an intention, you're never going to get quality results. Normally, people who have there's a lot that goes into it, but the first thing is if you don't have an intention, then you don't have a why. If you don't have a why, then when shit gets uncomfortable or when you're uncertain, the easier thing to do is to go back to default mode. So setting an intention, and this is very much applied to weight loss. What's going on? Do you have an intention of going down to the ground? Okay. His intention. Wow.
Yeah, you asked for that.
I did ask for that. So if you don't have an intention with regards to anything, be it your intention for the week, your intention for today, your intention for Easter, what's going to end up happening is you're going to go back to default, because all we know is where we've been. That's what's clear to us. And also, this is especially, for like a scenario like Easter. Let's say if you're hanging around with family or friends or whatever, a lot of times our default becomes our current environment's default. So if there is shitty food around and, you haven't set an intention, what's going to end up happening most likely is that you're going to end up defaulting for caving into bad food. So having a clear intention, knowing what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, and how you're going to execute on it is really important. You guys, something that we always say is that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Therefore, by setting an intention, mentally, you're planning in advance. Like going into whatever situation, this is what I'm looking to getting. Therefore, this is how you need to act. So many people think about weight loss just in a very on a very surface level, not on a 3D level. It's like, because they ate good for a couple of days, it's like now they expect the scale to go down. There's so much that goes into it, but the reality is that you have to be intentional with every single decision, thought, and by default, what's going to happen is that if you're being intentional with regards to your decisions and your thoughts, your actions are going to end up being intentional as well. So you have to plan for these actions in advance. You have to plan for the positive outcomes in advance, because what happens then is that we go to reverse engineering mode. Okay? This is the outcome that I want, therefore this is how I need to act, therefore this is the decision that I need to make, therefore this is what I need to do right now. But most people just think, I want to lose weight, therefore I'm gonna try to do X, Y, Z, and when I step on the scale, I expect for it to, show me whatever I expected. No, it's about being intentional. Okay, so it's about being intentional with regards to your why, your how, and your what. And this is a cycle that always, like you guys, life is a cycle, right? Like it continues, right? So like we had a holiday, now today is Monday. Until the next holiday, when's the next big holiday? Probably like Memorial Day or something, right? Like if by Memorial Day you want to be at X, why do you want to be at X? What are you going to do in order to get there? And therefore, how are you going to execute that? And that would just like reverse engineering, okay? Mindset planning.
When you don't have an intention, you will be controlled by environmental circumstances.
Yes.
And you will lack control. And then you feel guilty because you're like, I have no self-control, but it's really because you didn't set an intention prior to going into a certain event. If there is food around you that you have been accustomed to eating, or that you're used to eating, or that you enjoy eating, that isn't going to help you get to your goals, That doesn't mean necessarily that you're not allowed to eat any of it, but when you are around it, if you have not set an intention, you will eat it. Because it becomes a mindless activity while congregating around the food table, while talking with people, while it's like we need something to do. Sometimes it's just the oral fixation, like putting something in my mouth and chewing it, and like the act of eating is fun for me. I enjoy eating. And so if you don't go into the situation with an intention, knowing what's there and what's around, you can bet you're gonna consume. To a point, you feel bad about it. Now, if you go into the situation, let me paint the picture a little bit more. You go into, your parents' house, or your family comes over or something for Easter, and you're gonna have dinner, but you got snacks laid out on the counter or a table or whatever, some drinks and things. If you go into that environment and you have no intention, but you're used to consuming those things, you're gonna consume them mindlessly. For one, not even realize it initially, and then two, be like, well, I've already started, I might as well keep eating. This is like a common case. If you go into that environment saying, okay, I know that X, Y, and Z are going to be there. I know the drinks are going to be there. I know that the, snacks, the appetizers, the whatever is going to be there. I know X, Y, Z is going to be for dinner. If you don't know, that's also a problem. I would ask if you're not the one hosting. If you are hosting, then you have a bit more control. And you go into the environment and you're like, okay, here are my intentions today. Now you just have awareness. Like simply just creating an awareness around what you're doing gives your intentionality so much more weight. Because now you're like, I walked in with a plan. Let's say you don't go, fully according to plan, at least you're aware and you're not just mindlessly eating things that you didn't intend on eating. So, the intention is huge, and also taking control of whatever you can take control of. The amount of times that we've heard somebody say, I went to dinner with my parents and, I don't have control over what's being served. I'm like, you do if you offer to bring something. Or if you just bring something and say, hey, look, I brought a salad. Hope it helps. But really what you're saying is, I'm going to eat this motherfucking salad. In your own mind. Right? So you have to figure out, what are all of the pieces I can gain control of? If you're the host, you have full control over the menu. Yeah, but this person doesn't like that, and this person doesn't like that. Okay, great. Then they can bring their own food. This is what's being served here. And that comes down to being able to stand up for yourself and what you want and what you need. And sometimes being able to say no. You and I were having this conversation about just 2 days ago about how when somebody says they want the best for you, sometimes they don't actually want the best for you. They want what they think is the best for you for them. Right?
Yeah.
And somebody's expression of love may not be supportive of your goals. It's the way they express love. Somebody sends you a thing of cookies. Great, thanks, but that isn't supportive if I'm trying to lose weight. And if you really wanted the best for me, you would love me the way I want to be loved. You would want the things for me that I want for me, not what you think I should have, not the way you think I should live life. And then there should be a mutual respect. In a good relationship, there's a mutual respect. I understand that you want that. I see that, and this is your life. You get to do it the way you want to do it, and I respect that. And then expecting that it would be reciprocated both ways. So, there's a lot of people situations that are difficult because, we don't want to say no to people if we think it's going to hurt their feelings, or, they feel like you're going to be telling them like, oh, you don't like my food because you said no, or wow, I worked so hard to make this thing and you don't even want any. Like, yeah, but it's a consideration of my goals. If we have a good relationship, there should be a mutual consideration and respect. So some of the it's turning into a relationship conversation, but having an intention.
Everything is always intertwined.
It's relationship and communication. But having an intention going into whatever the situation is, also thinking like, what do I have control over that I can take charge of myself to make sure that I'm doing the things necessary to get me to where I want to be. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be like intentionally rude to anybody about it. You can respectfully decline. You can respectfully offer to bring something. So there's different ways around.
I think that most people in life want to. So the only time you wouldn't have to like really go out of your way to plan in advance for events like Easter or whatever is when everybody in that environment is literally on the same mission as you. That is the only time you'll never have to.
Example, ENS Live.
Yep.
Did anybody really have to try hard to not eat something that was served? I don't think so.
Right.
I can't speak for everybody, but I don't think so. Because when you go in, and did you ever feel any kind of anxiety if you were going to say no to something? Probably not. I hope not. Because you just, you understand that there's going to be an understanding. And this is the power of being around like-minded people. We don't hang out with people who don't give a shit about their nutrition. Aside from something we actually didn't have much control over.
Yeah.
But our choice is always like, hey, if we're gonna go to a restaurant, I'm gonna make a suggestion for the restaurant. I'm gonna be the one to make the suggestion. Nobody wants to choose anyways. Great, I will, because I know that if I look at the menu, I'm gonna like something there. But when you are in a community of like-minded people, there is no feeling bad for saying no to something. They're like, okay, too, I totally get it. And most of the time, most things will be aligned anyways. You don't have to feel bad for wanting to do a workout. People will probably just join you. So it makes it actually a lot less stressful to live life the way that you want to live.
Yeah, but going back to what I was saying, most people want to live life experiencing the fruits of, living an intentional life, but rarely do you find people who are putting in the work each and every single day in order to create an intentional life. In order to get yourself to that space, right, or to that setting, it requires so much work and it requires so much effort from so many elements with regards to how you're acting towards yourself, your relationship with yourself, the habits that you're forming, the environmental auditing that you're doing socially, mentally, and physically, right? And by the time you arrive to a setting like that, it's just like, man, everything feels right because everything is in alignment. The people that you're hanging out around who have taken over the planning, have the same standards as you are, and therefore it's cool, right? But everybody lives their lives expecting that if they go to their families or whatever, that things are just going to be prepared the way that they like it. No, it doesn't happen this way. So you have to go out of your way to ask the questions, to add the value, to gain control over whatever you can, so that you can audit your own surrounding and create your own filters so that you can be more intentional, right? Like living an intentional life is not just going to fall on your lap. It's like it requires daily effort with regards to so many elements of your life. There was something else that I wanted to add with regards to that.
Intentionality.
Yeah. Oh, and I was thinking about how this transfers over to living a highly productive life, because if you follow the steps to live an intentional life, you by default are putting yourself in a situation where you are now gaining control over becoming a decision maker. When you are becoming a decision maker, making decisions doesn't take you as long. Everybody in life talks about faster results, faster this, blah, blah, blah. In order to do faster anything, first you have to decide. So if you are becoming a faster decision maker with regards to how you're going to plan out Easter, how you're going to go for your outing, how are you going to show up for your week, guess what? You're becoming a higher performer by default. So, living an intentional life, literally like trickles down to so many elements of your life, and will take away stress, will definitely increase your productivity. It will definitely highlight what people in your life are on the same mission as you, or what people in your life are misaligned, and whether you should put them in the back seat and the front seat, or you can just tell them that the bus has left. But it's up to you. Like every day we have to make decisions, whether we like it or not. Most people choose to end up not making decisions, so Mother Nature does the decisions for them. Like every single meal will either get you one step closer to your goal or one step further away. Every day that you sleep in, instead of getting in your workout in the morning, will get you either one step closer to your goal or one step further away. Every single day that you stay up later than expected is going to get you one step closer to your goal or one step further away. It is all literally like a series of decisions. Every single day we make over 10,000 decisions. So if you become intentional with regards to your decision making, then guess what? You're going to become more intentional with your decision making, which over time will increase your level of productivity. Because look, if you want to get better in life, you just need to make sure that you have more wins than losses. But everybody's thinking all wins, no losses. Well, that's just stupid. Like Tom Brady didn't go from like barely even getting drafted to the NFL to now like winning almost every single game. So that's why you have to set an intention, because if you want to win every single day, if you want to win every single decision, what you have to do is you have to plan for it in advance. What do I need to do in order to win my lunch today? What do I need to do in order to win my day today? What do I need to do in order to win my week this week? And this is how it applies to you, because right now there's probably two types of people in the room. There's people who, went into this Monday feeling awesome. I crushed it last week. If you did, it's because you were being intentional. You're practicing that already. And if you did, then great job. Okay. Now, if you're feeling a little guilty or a little anxious, for one, know that that's okay. The past is behind you, so that doesn't matter. What you need to do is you need to set an intention going into this week. Fast forward to the end of the week. What do I need to do in order to be accomplished? And then it's just a series of You have to like literally reverse engineer it. Every day I need to do this, this, this. Okay, and then once you have that element into place, then what you have to do next is you have to follow through with making the right decision. That's it. That's it.
Various internet sources estimate that an adult makes about 35,000 remotely conscious decisions every day. Remotely conscious, how many of those do you think are absolutely intentional? I know I'm not even close to 35,000. But how many things do you do every day that are unintentional? A great example, I want to think, like, what are the things that we do that are unintentional? Scrolling through social media. You guys came here to watch Espresso with Erin Sarit intentionally. You knew it was happening. You're like, the show's on the road. Open the app, turn on the video. Intentional. But how many times do you go on social media and find yourself, you're like, fuck, how long have I been scrolling, watching the reels? That shit'll suck you right in. TikTok. Suck you right in. So entertaining. But how much time do you waste not being productive because you're just consuming mindless content? Now, laughter is a great thing. So it's not all bad, but when you're not intentional about it, it's a waste of time. You could be getting something done, you're not getting done, and then we say, well, I don't have time for this, or I don't have time for that. Meanwhile, I sat on the toilet with the intention to go poop, and I sat there for 25 minutes, 20 minutes after I was already done pooping, continuing to scroll through TikTok.
What?
I think the longest amount of time that I got like caught into TikTok was like 10 minutes. And then I was pissed afterwards. I was like, how did I just get sucked into this? It was like at our old house. Because it's like after one is done, it just immediately pops up another one. And you're like, oh my God, this is so funny. And you're like, why can't I stop watching? It's like crack. Like, why can't I stop watching?
That's why you have to intentionally go out of your way to create filters.
I turn notifications off stuff.
Because otherwise, you're going to get sucked into this shit. This is when now, like you'll hear a lot of high performers nowadays saying like less is more. This is when like the less is more will come into play, like, you know, check your email less times a day so that when you do it, you're actually like going through all the emails instead of like, you know, going to your email every time you get a notification. And let's say, you know, if it's an email that requires you like 15 minutes to respond to, and you're like, wait, but I have to hop on a meeting in 2 minutes. Now you get sidetracked. You literally just wasted 2 minutes. Let's say you do that 10 times a day. That's 20 minutes. You guys, like, these small things add up fast. And also, that is the power of habit, because so many of our decisions we don't even think about. So imagine if your habits are working for you and are bulletproof, how much more effective you become, how much more time you create, and just like how much better of a life you're living in general.
I want to give you guys an exercise, if you will. Choose to do it if you want. It will be helpful for you. Choose not to do it if you don't want. I don't know why you're watching if you don't want to improve. But what I would do is today, keep a notepad, and anytime you get distracted with some nonsense you did not intend on doing, but got sucked into, and it wasn't an emergency. An emergency is different. A fire that you need to put out, if it's truly a fire that needs to put out right now, is different. Tally how many times and how much time you wasted because you got sucked into something that you didn't intend on doing because you looked at a notification, or you had a couple minutes you were waiting for something, and then that couple minutes turned into a lot of minutes because you got distracted doing something that wasn't really that important or intentional at the time. Write down each time and how much time it takes away from or distracts you from the thing that you were doing. Because when you are focused on doing one thing and you have to change tasks, there's this thing called flow. It takes some time to get into a flow on that next thing. And then you switch things again, it takes some time to get into a flow on that thing. And so if you're transitioning back and forth between things, unintentional, because you're like, oh, got a notification on my email, let me check that real quick. Takes you a second to get into a flow with that email. Then you got to switch back to the thing that you were doing, that you were intending on doing. Takes you a little bit to get back into a flow on that. And you have to ask yourself, am I using this as a distraction subconsciously and I don't even realize it because I don't want to do the thing that I should be doing? Because that's happened to me. Where like you try to avoid something. You're like, I don't want to take care of this thing. I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to whatever. And so it's like any distraction that could possibly get in the way. Oh, got an email. I better answer that. It's important. It's not important right now. Unless it's a fire. So, challenge.
Boom. Yeah, so that being said, what's in the past is behind you. If you're starting this week in an intentional way, rock on, keep up the great job. Let's keep it this way. People are great at starting things, but only the great are good at finishing them. Now, if you're starting basically from a slip up, which means that, the momentum has stalled, then that's okay. Set an intention and follow through with it. You guys, life is simple. Life is simple. We just find ways to overcomplicate it. And our mission is to help you, to hold you accountable and encourage you to keep it simple. That's the name of the game. All right. That does that for today.
That does that for today.
Okay, you guys, tomorrow is Q&A day. Q&A day. So remember to ask us all of your questions so that we can answer them. Okay, our intention is tomorrow to answer any and all of your questions so that we can add more value to you. Do you have anything else to add?
I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for Q&A day. If you guys don't ask any questions, which I know you're going to, then what's supposed to do? I'm going to answer my own questions.
I love it. Great. That being said, you guys, we're wishing you an intentional week ahead. If you found value from today's episode, please do us a favor and just pay it forward by sharing the love. Spread this episode with somebody that, needs to hear this message. Somebody that you see who's wasting a whole bunch of time just going from speed to stop to speed to stop, almost like, cars on a major traffic jam on Monday at 5 p.m. in any major city. We ain't about that life. It's all about that cruise control, baby. So we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thank you for showing up for yourself this morning, and we're wishing you a productive and intentional week ahead. Happy Monday.
Bye.